Her lips which whisper like reeds on the wind, wet with moisture sprung from a well deep within, whispers like the petals of an iris, the reedy blossom which weathers and is not trodden down for long. 50 to 1 and near to be outdone. What hilt for to feel is steel slid squealing on steel, naked bare steel yet veiled by shadow's ebb. What thundering sound, for upon steel now, steel ground, ever from darkness the shadows now fled, like bipedal rats, but agile like cats, the snickering invaders, what gloom for to keep, to chitter and creep while they twittered and they sneaked, for what bounty yearn they, now for to reap. A sword through the throat, cut short for they'd gloat, a taunt goading forth sprayed as red spittle, bounced aimlessly now, ahead ne'er to pounce. With 2 down grew their hunger now little. Run now they did, and escape for to bid, crouching they there at a building's far corner. A loose stone left behind into the sewer now they all climbed, pursued rightly in course by Fred's mourners. We'll return to descend, but first back to the inn, for weapons and torches and rope for to guide us, a hand for to harry or treasure to carry, not a word to the others who would deride us. Said Catania to dread where the ratmen had fled, into a sewer drops behind a hollow stone. Put forth, but not in voice, was that instant's quick choice, with destinies gathering and fate for to hone. With weapons to fight and torches for sight, they returned for nary an hour could pass. Within time out of mind had the ratmen inclined to shore up their hidey hole with stone fast. Not so were they moved, the case was to prove, for dread through the hole past the hollow foe stone. A sound not far down, quite familiar, he now found, what coursing waters deep murmuring moan. What mist though so pure, so not like any sewer, like waters fresh and readily in abundance. The sewer drop shaft now ceded its path to a silt heap of inestimable repugnance. What shit heap is this? Her voice feigning bliss, asked Catania a pace or two above. On matters thus regal and all matters fecal, for such silt Catania harbored but love. A scatological glance, ere wary of mischance, would silty solipsistic spade sophistry lay, sopping sophomoric its aether euphoric, speciously sordid it rank with decay. Sweet mother's embrace, uttered she with distaste, as ignominiously pounced she upon the silt. It yet to collapse the sewer drop shaft, 500 or more years ago was built. A blade in need of hone, was that human, that bone? What ambulant mouldering rag heap be that there? A ratman there perhaps, playing dead I would chance, venture too close, to but arm's length I'd dare. What moment it withstood, but a death throw it would, rise up, waning rapid with insistence. Though truer I'd suppose, for to venture too close, would deny its last course of existence. For such did she dare her nostrils aflare, as her dagger met left for to parry. What sword for to swing, the ratman did spring, and met well he death, lent for to tarry. From his neck for to bid his existence now slid. It haggard her dagger, pulled hence from his lung. Unpleasantly droll, his head which did roll, cracked wet and bounced hollow as it rolled in the dung. By vaguest mischance son's head for to lapse, nigh rigor afforded, nor mortis to goad. Catania then drew back, lest his nails glance her back, for vigor she had graced on that one for the road. A great village commode, with no anger to goad, what hilt for to sort, what lives to abort. For lacking in sport, behind came a snort, with her dagger and sword, but one ratman to thwart. His mettle thus nudged, and engorged on a grudge. Lunged he at Catania, bent solely on blood. What elbow to fear as she whirled on his ear? Fluidic not, it was more like a flood. Up crept her blade now under his rib cage, his ligaments sliced, his lungs for to dice. Man rat not nice, what fur crawling with lice? How met you your end with but metal of mice? Flowers for cowards and pansies to lay, you ruined my friend's funeral, your innards I'd splay. Said Catania to no one yet breathing that day, as twitching the man-rat's carcass bled out where it lay. And red is your color, she spoke to no other, as ravenous dung-flies did dance round her head. And match not you do, you are all the wrong hue, said she as the dung-flies all sucked where he bled. But anger to sate for friend Fred ere late, is gazed she upon the ungratifying corpse. As Dread looked around, he in emptiness frowned, for pilfer did she his angst and remorse. He heard not a sound as he again looked around, but waters falling rush from a torrent unbound. What city-states abate of Ashton ere late? An old aqueduct they found underground. What way away washed, excitement but quashed, as a fathomless drop to the left and the right, with the path washed away by tumultuous spray, misharrowing and shrouded the bottom from sight. What path though was spied upon the other side of the pathway worn by the aqueduct spray? A gap though too great, perhaps better to wait and retire to resume upon some other day. But she looking down, her eye a ledge found, there in wafting mists below the pass edge. A bridge here there was, its arch anchored thus, space ample there was found on the ledge for to wedge. To dredge with the rope the rocky wet slope. What hollow to see on the near side there be? No plumb for to find, so Catania's fair behind, won by rope cinched for the hollow to see. With the rope held by friends, down she went to descend, to a ledge where the bridge arch was anchored. To the hollow below she was destined to go, for within it was fate for to find her. What hopes were to sag, but for piles of rags, at first to emerge, but naught else to see. What mildew and mold, what stint for to bold, beneath dung mouldering, under what be. Ever so sly, beneath wrangle to pry, under muck for to sink, but what twinkle did plink. A glimmer of steel, her mind for to reel, to abrogate not, lest she were to blink. A carapace old, a vambrace all told, shed she her cloak with such treasure to hold, a helm to perceive with gauntlets and greaves. Favored by fortune found she coins of gold, a supper to sup, she gathered it up, armor discreet in a parcel of 3. Her belt for to sag, with coins in her bag, with parcels secure, up the rope went she. Back up to the shaft, and to the inn at last, to sup errant not, I a bed for to find. Into a bed made of feathers she fell like bad weather, no cock for to crow, or clock for to wind. Yep, that would be the Rodent Warren. My work, my copyright, my concept, the Rodent Warren. The underground, like I said, this rabbit hole stuff, that goes back to the Mad Hatter's Tea Party from the Victorian era intrigue. It was basically an assassination threat targeting the British royal family and heads of state in England and all across Europe, and including threats against people like former President Grant and Cleveland and Hayes and stuff like that. So ixnay on the rabbit hole. This is the Rodent Warren. If you're going to play in my domain, you better get the terminology right. Just saying. 50 to 1 and ne'er to be outdone. M&M's out of the freezer.